Every 2 seconds, someone in America needs a life-saving blood transfusion, and that only happens when someone else donates blood. January is National Blood Donor Month. It's a time to recognize those who regularly donate, but also an opportunity to help us all understand how vital it is for more people to become blood donors. Let's welcome Chris Miskel, President and CEO of Versiti. Versiti Blood Center of Wisconsin provides blood products to hospitals, medical centers, and blood centers to help meet patient needs. And it also conducts research that helps find treatments for blood-related illnesses. Chris, thanks so much for being with us.
Well, hello, and thanks for allowing me to join.
Why is it important to have a month that recognizes blood donors and blood donation?
Sure. Well, National Blood Donor Month is a chance to cherish those super donors out there that have come on board with our mission to do something great for the community. I always, when I talk about blood donation, some people know, but some may not. I think about commodities and the fact that blood's not a commodity. If I'm sick and I need to go to the pharmacy to get something for a cough, it's always there. I drink a lot of Diet Coke, more than I probably should. It's pretty much always there. But with blood, it really can only come from these donors that are selfless, and it comes through us to be able to help save patients' lives. And so it's really special, and we want to honor that.
People tend to think of summer as being the month when blood donations tend to be a little bit lower. But January, winter, can also be a time when blood donations get a little tight.
January is really tough. The holidays are a great time to celebrate with our loved ones and reflect on all the good things that are going on in our lives. But sometimes it's easy to forget about blood donation. It may slip down the priority list. You also have cold and flu season. Schools are out a bit where we collect a fair amount of blood. And so January is a great time just to reinforce, again, the commitment to all of our super donors, but also remind folks that it would be great if they could make a contribution during a time where it's tougher.
One of the things that we think about, now is, of course, that the blood supply is always there. But what is the blood supply looking like now in our area with January being a little tight?
Yeah, blood supply is always day to day. We like to have 3 days of inventory, but it's always tenuous from the standpoint of it doesn't have an infinite shelf life. And so because of that, every day we need to collect to be able to sustain the blood supply. And it's the blood on the shelves that saves, a lot of times people come out when something really horrific happens, but there can be up to a 4-day delay with testing and all these things before we release blood products from the time that it's donated. And so it's imperative that we always have blood on the shelf to be able to be there when it's necessary.
One thing that we discovered in doing a little bit of research is that most blood donors tend to be 40 years of age or older. How do you get more young people engaged in and even thinking about donating blood?
Well, we've got to meet them where they are. And I'll also say we don't have it solved. So we continue. This is what inspires us. So this is the complexity of it, is making sure that we have enough donors and we're up for that challenge. But really, we've got to meet them where they are. I would say that 20 years ago, people donated proportionally more blood in donor centers. And now we probably we do collect more in what we call a mobile setting. So if folks can organize a blood drive and we can get to 20 to 25 units or more in general is kind of the threshold point, we'll bring our operation right to you, whether it's a church, a school, a place of work, whatever it might be. And we'll make sure that we make it as easy as possible for folks to jump on board with what we're doing.
How did COVID impact those particular efforts for mobile donation, especially because now not all schools, not all businesses have everyone back at one location where they could do some kind of a blood drive or donation drive?
We definitely saw an impact. And so for a period of time during COVID, the balance swung back to maybe be more heavily in centers there for a period of time. As we've come out of it, it's starting to move back towards the centers. But I'll say this, you know, If I just use the schools as an example, there are lots of folks that used to work, whether it's in a school or it could be any job that maybe were our blood drive sponsors, and they're no longer in place. COVID caused people to reflect on a lot of their values in their lives and timing of retirement or doing something different. So we've found, what's critical to our success is having sponsors on the inside that are credible in their organizations and can inspire people to want to donate blood. And part of what we've been focusing on is rebuilding relationships with new sponsors, as well as obviously valuing those that have been sponsors through the entire time, because that's really key to us having success.
Your goal is to get 42,000 units this month. Halfway through the month, how's it going?
That's a great question. We're a little behind, but we've got half the month. The weather has impacted us some, but we also backload January a little bit as people come out of the holidays. So I would say we're slightly behind, but we've got half the month to make it up. And we collected 41,000 units across our Versiti print in January of 2023. And so 42,000 with the way that we've been growing as an organization, we felt like was the right goal for January of 24.
One of your goals is also to increase the number of minority donors that you have. Why is that particularly important?
Yeah, it's really important. It's personally, a passion project of mine. But there are times where the diversity of the blood donor base is important for the match between the donor and the recipient. People that look like us don't donate proportionally at the same rates of people of other races. But for someone that has sickle cell disease, which disproportionately impacts people of color, and 1 in 365 children have sickle cell disease. So we see in certain zip codes where the utilization of blood is higher than what we're able to collect in those communities. And we're working really hard to address that. What's really cool, I've learned as I've been here 7 years now, 44% of Black donors have a rare RO trait. And that trait is really important because it increases the odds of a match for a patient that has sickle cell disease that might reject a normal ABO match that you would think would work. But if they get a donation from someone that looks like them that has this RO trait, they have a better outcome. And so we're passionate about making sure that we inspire as many folks of color to donate as we can.
Chris, before we leave, how can people make a blood donation this month?
Absolutely. Well, we've got 9 fixed donor centers. If you go on versiti.org on our Wisconsin page and you search a little bit, there's a spot that says Donate Now. It'll show you where our 9 donor centers are across the state. But you can put your zip code in there and it will show you all of the mobile blood drives within a radius that you put in there so that you can go to an open mobile blood drive and donate there.
Great. Chris, thank you so much. Thanks for the work you're doing. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. Have a great day.
You too. We'll be right back.